Cool. I'll just kick it off. So, morning everyone. This is Jason live from Oracle. I'm here with Senior Director of Cloud Strategy, Franco Ucci. Franco was one of our keynote speakers from last night. So, hey Franco, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself, Jason?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Thanks for getting up Saturday morning. I know we've got a whole bunch of different time zones that we're catering for, so appreciate your time.
Yeah, looking forward to spending a bit of time with you talking about low code.
So what have you seen so far before we get into stuff? What have you seen so far about the hackathon and build with AI?
It's great to see, first off, it's great to see so many people from around the globe. I had a quick look just recently. We've hit the 4,000 mark, and good to see, you know, so many people talking machine learning, talking AI, talking data science, and using a variety of technologies, whether it's around Python, whether it's around R, and then once again, you actually see it delves into different areas, whether it's around just patient care or what can you do with looking at diagrams, and what can what can you bring up by looking at an X-ray or something like that.
You raise a good point there, Franco, because one of the things that we're conscious of is unless you present the data in such a way that it is usable, there's a user experience angle to that data, then it just stays as data and information, right?
Exactly.
Right. So hence this what we're doing here is just a quick fire webinar for a couple for 10, 15, 20 minutes or something like that, where we're going to go through some of the things that we've got as part of Oracle Cloud. And Franco, what are you going to show us?
First off, I'm going to just kick off from the always free tier, showing, you know, you get 2 compute VMs and you get 2 autonomous databases. And can you see my screen as we speak?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is the Cloud Console. It's pretty much a follow your nose where we could go in and create a virtual machine, create an autonomous transaction or data warehouse database. I've actually already got one of those already up and going. So, you know, I could go off and create a second one, and you know, you just put in, let's call it DB5, DB5. I'll pick transaction processing. Shared infrastructure is fine. I've got the always free. CPU with 0.02 terabyte is enough for what we want to do. The hardest thing to do is put in a password. Has to be 12 characters and a mix of things.
At least.
And I'll just kick that out, kick that off, license included. I'll just kick that off while we're speaking.
Yep.
And this will take, you know, about 2 to 3 minutes, but 2 to 3 minutes in a 15-minute session is actually quite expensive. So let's go back to the one I had already cooked. So the first one there was DB1 there. Can you see that?
Yep.
So I'm going to bring that up, and I actually created that last night, and you can see it's already created an automatic backup for me. And you know, this whole thing around the autonomous is it does all of this for you. What you get when you get autonomous, not only do you get a database that's patched and scalable and secure, you actually get 4 different ways in which you can use that database. So we give you the ability to access it with SQL, the ability to access it with Zeppelin notebooks, so you can do your machine learning stuff. You actually also get the ability to provide, so you can use it as a REST API capability. We call that simple Oracle document access, so you can move JSON documents in and out, whether you're using Java, Node.js, Python, C, etc. Or what we're going to do today is actually go into our low code tool known as Application Express. So I'm just going to log into that. You can have, you know, as many workspaces as you want. So we're just going to log into that. And what you get here is, Jason, you get the ability to build apps. You get the ability to do stuff with SQL to look at the data. You can set this up as a virtual development collaboration, so you can have a variety of people. And we've also got this thing like an app store there as well. So what I'm going to do is actually just, you know, depending on how we go time-wise, is actually show you how I can grab a spreadsheet and turn that into an app. Then I'm going to also show you how you could go from nothing. That is, we've got an idea of some data that we want to turn into an app. And then I'll actually just show you the object browser and then just show you within this environment what you can do with some REST APIs.
Cool.
I'll also give you a bunch of links as well through this process. So if you just want to play with Application Express, we've got a website you can go to. You can get an evaluation account. There's a heap of tutorials there. Or you use what I'm doing with the always free account, where you get 2 compute, 2 autonomous, and you get access to those 4 environments. And if you want to relive some of the fun I'm doing, you can go to the Apex channel, look at the videos, and then, you know, have a look at some of the things that I think may be interesting. But I may give you this later on, Jason, and you can actually load it on the Slack channel. Yeah,
cool. Thanks, Franco.
So shall we get started with the spreadsheet? Okay. So let's pretend you've invited me over your house for a barbecue.
Of course.
And, you know, Jason, I actually don't like you very much. So I want to bring something because I want to be polite and kind, but I actually don't want to spend a lot of money. So do you like red wine?
Yeah.
So and this is the thing too, right? You're not even sure if you like red wine or not. So I'm going to try and, I'm actually going to try and find a bottle of red wine for about 20 bucks that will look like it's impressive, right?
Well, that's top shelf.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm lucky I've got a bit of data. It's in an Excel spreadsheet. It's got the 25,000 wines from around the globe. So let's go turn that into an app.
Okay.
So I'm going to go off and create that. I'm going to create it from a file. And just before I just grab that Excel spreadsheet, the thing that's really nice here is that this environment is actually built in with data that you can actually play with straight away. So departments and employees. There's some data here that's got some structured data, but it's also got some JSON data, nested, etc. In there, projects and tasks, etc. But we're not going to do that. We're actually going to go off and grab a file, and there's my wines table, my wines spreadsheet. It's got about 20-odd thousand rows of data there. I'm going to call this wine 5. Actually, I'll make it wine 6 just so I can see that. I can go off and you can see it's starting to preview the data. So this could be patient data, it could be clinical test data, given what we're talking about. And I can go off and I can see what it thinks it's going to create for me. So you can preview the data. You can actually see the tables and columns it's actually going to provide. So I'm going to save that. And I'm now going to hit the load button. And I'm loading an XLS spreadsheet, but it could be a CSV or it could be a JSON file as well, right? So there's a variety of different formats that it can actually ingest, work out how to do something with it. And you can see for intensive purposes, it's got around about 25,000 rows of data. There were 3 rows rejected. I look at it, there's a bottle of Prosecco from Italy, Pedro Jimenez and a cuvee. You know what? I'm not really interested in those anyway. So I can now go in and look at that data. I could view the table, open it in object browser. I could actually start the experience again. But because I'm highly efficient, or as you often say to me, you lazy person, you, I'm just going to go off and create an application.
Yeah.
And it's actually given it the same name as the table. I'm going to call it wine browser. It's got a dashboard. It's got a faceted search, a report, a calendar. I'm just going to go off and hit create application. Before I do that though, I'm going to check this and give me an about page, configuration, give me the ability to add and subtract users and provide access control. I can look at the activity reporting. I can gather valuable feedback from my users and also change the way it looks and feels. And I'm just going to go off and hit create application.
Cool.
So we're moments away. So we've actually generated most of these artifacts have been all automatically generated. So using years and years of experience and looking at the data, it's actually worked out what sort of application would it like to auto generate for me. So I'm going to go off and hit run application. I've got my little password thing to auto populate that. And I'm just going to click on wine dashboard.
Yep.
So it's actually showing me, you know, we've got around about 10,000 wines from the US, 4,000 in France. And because we're here in Australia, there's around about 465 in Australia. This is, you know, how good we think the wines are. So all the point system, there's 3,000. They got 88 points, but we're actually going to be looking for wines that are 91, 92. It's got how many wines from the different types, from the different regions. Let's go to this other one, the search one, which is probably the more valuable thing right now. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to show you, if I go like that, it actually works out that it needs to reformat. You know, that's the old HTML responsive app thing. Yep. So I could actually run this on my mobile phone as I'm driving to find out where you live.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Driving with your mobile phone.
So I'm looking at Australian wines. Show less. I want to get wines that are greater than 91. I want them to be South Australian, and then Shiraz. And I actually like my wine out of the Barossa Valley, which is a nice area to have a look at. And so now I've got Shiraz wines out of the Barossa. Let's actually sort this. And there you go. I can now start to find a couple of wines that are around about the $20 mark and the Shiraz. In fact, I'm actually thinking I'm going to get you the $17 bottle chocolate box.
So you hate me that much?
So
actually, I was actually looking at that one, thinking, hey, I like the name of that. It's probably got a good label.
So you can see from, you know, how long did that take us, Jason? About 5-10 minutes.
Franco, you got with all the faffle at the beginning. That's about 5. Yeah, including the going through all the provisioning and then actually creating the app, logging in and creating the app. That was about 10 minutes.
Okay, so have I got time to show you one more thing?
You've got probably another 15 minutes.
Oh, fantastic. That's what I was hoping you would say. Yep. So let's get back to, I showed you how you could load a spreadsheet and actually get an app built. Yep. Let's actually go now to this other thing. If I bring back up my little thing, we've just ticked that box. We're now going to look at the quick DDL to the application, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to this thing called SQL scripts, and I'm going to go quick SQL. And this is a really cool capability. So instead of me having to know SQL and get all the checks done, I could be sitting with you right now and saying, hey, Jason, you know, we're talking to you about patients, and the patient is going to have a first name, and the patient's going to have a last name. The patient's going to have an age. The age is actually a number. And we actually also want a phone number. And you can actually see on the right-hand side, all of this code is being generated accordingly. I can actually go /insert 10. And what that will do is actually also generate a heap of test data for me straight away. Now, there's a few things here. There's these what we call directives that actually tell you what you can and can't do. So that you saw me type in num, int, etc. So it's a small set of keywords that you can use to actually auto-generate and actually create a lot of code very, very quickly for you, right? So let's have a look at what is possible. Because I'm aware of time, I've actually got one of these ready to go already, and I'll talk it through, copy, and instead of me going one by one. So I've got a scenario here where we've got, let's say, people working as part of some sort of virtual project. I've got this thing called team members. There's my set of data that I'm actually suggesting. A username, I want in uppercase, email, phone number, profile, photo, etc. The photo was a file that we're going to upload. It'll be smart enough to work that out. And projects is made up of milestones, projects made up of tasks, I've got some to-dos, etc. like that. So I've got the ability, and you can see I'm just typing this thing and it started to auto-generate this for me again. I'm going to click on settings. And I'm just going to come here and you can see generate inserts, date type. We're going to have audit columns. We'll have a row version number. We're going to have, we could have a history table, that is anytime anything changes. And there's that audit stuff, created by, updated by, etc. So that has now put in these last 4 columns there, right? And you can see I've got that. So I'm just going to save that. I'll call it F10, and I'll save that script. I'll now go to review, and I'll go run that. So it's now going to create all of those objects in the database with all of the test data. And you can see it's executed 217 statements with this. I'm now going to go off and see if it can create one of those apps for me that we saw before. So it's actually picked up those tables. I'll now go create application. And let's call it team or project. I'll call it project. And you can see it's actually got a bunch of, what they call interactive reports with drill down forms already there. That's what it's worked out. May be useful. I could actually change these, but given we're doing this in a fast, rapid jam session, we'll see what's possible. And I now just go run the app. Project, And let's make it a little bit smaller. So I've got these nice buttons that I can push, or I can use the same menu from across, and I've now got, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. So I can click on that and bang, I've got my little form where it's got some data, it's got some list of values, so I can hit apply changes.
Yeah.
I've got some milestones there with the list of values, etc. Actually, what I didn't show you was if I go back to the team members, and there's that little upload the file thing. So you could actually upload the file. The to-do, I think we actually had a, let's take that out of there. The to-do list, we've actually got a little, once again, that situation, being able to apply the changes. The actual tasks, let's click on the task, and there's a little is complete button down the bottom there. So that's pretty good, you know, from being able to grab nothing more than a simple text file, generate that. So what I'm going to do now, getting back to, I'm actually now just going to go to the object browser, and then we can do some queries around that. So if I go to the object browser, so the wine table was the one which we actually had before. We can actually click on the data there. We can use this as a little way to put some stuff in there. It actually gives you the ability to come up with some queries, so we can grab that. I can then go to this thing called SQL commands, put that in there, and start to write my own queries around things. So I can actually put in some filters and have a bit of fun with that. How much time have I got left now?
You've probably got another 5 minutes there, Franco.
Okay. So the other thing I wanted to show you was inside the Application Express environment, we've got the ability to expose what you've got here as REST APIs. And when the first time you go into this thing, it's called the ORDS RESTful Services System. On the right-hand side, you would actually see, in fact, what we might do, I'll stick here, it would say register and open it up so you can have REST. You need to click on that.
Yeah.
Once you've done that, you get the opportunity to actually see some, you can actually see some examples of REST APIs that you can actually interact with. So if we pick this one here, employees, here's the REST API, and I go copy, I'll then just go up to this environment here, and I'll be able to do a get. Is not accessible. So let's go back. It's good that we got those little errors.
Yeah.
So let's go back and actually try one on one of our new systems. So let's actually do it on the wine system.
Yep.
So here's the wine. I'm going to click this button here called REST. I'm going to REST enable that. Yep. Authorization required. I'm going to say no.
Yep.
And then hit apply. And this will take a little bit of effort to go off and set that up. I've now got a capability here, which is a REST API. I'll go over to this button and go paste and go. And here I've now got all of my data around the wine system. And so that bit of data that I actually had, I've actually got it there, and I can just have a look at that same one. And you've also got the ability to here have what they call query by examples as well. And you've also got the ability to actually post updates and continue to do inserts. So you've basically REST API enabled your data in moments. So I'll just do that example again. Maybe let's do it for team members.
Yep.
If I click on REST enable, say yes, authorization required, say no, and I hit apply. And grab that, grab that URL, go to a new button.
Yep.
And go paste and go. And now here we are,
Nice.
We've got our team members up there. Okay, and I think I might just wrap up there. So just a little thing in terms of what we did. We went from spreadsheet to app, the wine system. We did the quick DDL to the app, which was the team projects. I then showed you how you could see the data you created and what you could do query-wise. And then we did some REST APIs. In terms of where you could go, I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller. Encourage you to go to apex.oracle.com. And you can actually get started for free in this environment. It gives you one Apex environment. And the other one is, in fact, the other thing I should highlight while I'm here is there's a range of really good tutorials. So the spreadsheet, existing tables, how to do things with REST, remote, and here's another example of the quick SQL thing. And if you want to relive some of this in a really easy experience, the Oracle Application Express team have got this hosted as a channel where you can get access to a lot of this material.
Cool.
So the sample data sets, the quick SQL. So I might stop there. Jason, I hope that was a nice quick intro to what's possible with Apex low code.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there in terms of creating that user experience and doing that very quickly. There's different areas in terms of charting and stuff like that we haven't really gone through, which I've used for some other events, like for Visual Social Good, where it's very much visualization focused. So that can be all bound in there. There's also a big community of Apex development and also plugins that you can build. People been doing their own custom plugins that they can drop in. So you don't have to use what's out of the box. There's other ways of getting stuff in. So highly flexible, highly extensible, but also highly efficient in getting stuff done. So Franco, appreciate you running through this. I'll definitely post this up on the channel and post the links that you've got. So Franco, appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you. Have a great weekend and enjoy the hackathon.
Cheers, mate. Talk later.
Bye.